Today, we are diving deep into a topic that is currently receiving a lot of attention in the health world. Apple cider vinegar and blood sugar. Sounds simple at first, right? But the science behind what apple cider vinegar actually does in our bodies is fascinating, and it goes far beyond its ability to just lower blood sugar. Let's start with acetic acid, the main player in apple cider vinegar. Acetic acid is what gives vinegar its characteristic sharp taste, but it does much more than just tickle the tongue. Researchers have found that acetic acid has the ability to influence glucose absorption in the small intestine. This means that sugar from food enters the bloodstream more slowly, and that is particularly helpful for people who want to control their blood sugar levels. But how exactly does this work? Studies have shown that acetic acid lowers the glycemic index of carbohydrate-rich meals. This is essentially the measure of how quickly sugar from our meals enters the bloodstream. And the slower this happens, the more stable our blood sugar levels remain, a clear advantage, especially after high carbohydrate meals. For example, Granfelt and Persson found in their 2005 study that the consumption of vinegar led to a significantly lower insulin and blood sugar response. One might assume that vinegar, and particularly its acetic acid, slows down gastric emptying, thereby ensuring that sugar from food enters the small intestine more slowly. This hypothesis sounds logical. If the stomach contents transition to the small intestine more slowly, the body has more time to gradually digest and release carbohydrates, leading to a slower and less drastic rise in blood sugar. However, this is where an interesting twist comes into play, revealed by the research of Briganti and colleagues in 1995. In their study, they investigated the effect of acetic acid on gastric emptying and surprisingly found that acetic acid does not directly slow down this process. They used innovative ultrasound methods at the time to observe the gastric emptying rate after vinegar consumption. Their results showed that despite the intake of vinegar, gastric emptying occurred at the same rate as in control groups without vinegar. This means that the altered blood sugar rise after a vinegar meal is not caused by the stomach working more slowly. So if it's not the slowing of gastric emptying that influences the blood sugar rise, what exactly is happening? This is where the cellular mechanism comes into play. Acetic acid seems to act on a deeper biochemical level. Instead of just keeping the stomach contents longer, it directly intervenes in glucose metabolism. This suggests that acetic acid may influence how cells take up and process glucose. One theory is that acetic acid affects the interplay of insulin and glucose at the cellular level. Normally, insulin acts like a key that opens the door to the cell so that glucose can enter. Acetic acid could enhance this mechanism or even increase the number of doors, meaning the glucose transporters on cell surfaces. This would mean that cells take up more glucose more quickly, leaving less sugar in the blood. This cellular influence could also explain why other studies, such as those by Granfelt and Persson in 2005, showed that acetic acid leads to a significant reduction in postprandial or after-eating blood sugar responses without gastric emptying being slowed. The crucial point is, acetic acid does not affect the mechanism of gastric emptying, but directly influences glucose metabolism by potentially increasing the sensitivity of cells to insulin or facilitating the transport of glucose across the cell membrane. It has also been shown that vinegar, particularly acetic acid, is especially effective when consumed with carbohydrate-rich meals. Studies suggest that even small amounts, such as 10 grams or 2 teaspoons of vinegar, can effectively lower postprandial glycemia, also known as the blood sugar rise after a meal. This was demonstrated, for example, in a study by Zarghami and Kani in 2014. For a stronger effect, research recommends a daily intake of 10 to 30 milliliters, which corresponds to about 2 to 6 tablespoons, to control blood sugar even more effectively, as reported in 2019 by Santos et al. But how exactly does vinegar work? One mechanism is the inhibition of digestive enzymes like alpha amylase, which are normally responsible for breaking down carbohydrates into their simpler sugar molecules. By inhibiting this enzyme, acetic acid slows down carbohydrate digestion, which in turn slows the rise in blood sugar after eating, as recently shown in 2019 by Santos et al. Additionally, acetic acid increases the secretion of GLP-1, a hormone that not only improves insulin secretion but also promotes satiety, as investigated in 2016 by Lim et al. However, not all research shows consistently positive results. In 2012, a study by Van Dyke et al. Compared the effect of 25 grams of white vinegar in a glucose tolerance test and found no difference in blood sugar levels after consumption. This may seem contradictory, but these results actually align with findings from Johnston et al. They discovered that vinegar was less effective at reducing blood sugar when it came to simple sugars, such as pure glucose. Its effectiveness was primarily observed with more complex carbohydrates. And now comes the practical part. How can we incorporate apple cider vinegar into our diet? It's quite simple. 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water before meals can help slow down the rise in blood sugar. And the best part? Apple cider vinegar is not only good for blood sugar but also supports metabolism and promotes digestion. However, we should keep in mind that while the effects of acetic acid are promising, individual differences may exist. Some people may respond more strongly to vinegar than others, and there is still much to explore regarding the long-term effects. In conclusion, apple cider vinegar is not a miracle cure, but it can be a valuable addition when it comes to stabilizing blood sugar levels and supporting overall health. The science behind it is still young, but the initial results are promising. So the next time you dress your salad or drink a glass of water with apple cider vinegar, remember, you are doing something good for your body. Not just by keeping blood sugar in check, but also through the many other benefits that acetic acid brings. If you enjoyed this information and want to learn more about healthy eating and lifestyle, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new content. We wish you a long, healthy, and happy life. Until next time.